Welcome back here to the Air Crash Investigator. Let's stop breaking the nose wheel on landing. All right, and then just a quick reminder here from Seams Aviation. This is where you will get all the information. It does not matter which course you want to do. They've got everything online. Just go there and check it out. All right, now, I call this the balloon trap. Okay, now, what do you mean by balloon? Well, literally, we're going to talk about when we approach to land, what are the things that can go wrong? How do people naturally react to it? What does it look like on a video when they do that? And then eventually, what will be the end result? But as usual, I will end it up with a few tips onto it. To set up a porpoise, approach slightly high. The power fully closed prior to round out for the landing. Remember, these are set up parts. Slightly high, close the throttle before you start with the round out part, and now the pilot must deal with two different issues. The one is the nose that will pitch down towards the undercarriage due to the fact that the throttle is closed. And the next one is, as the nose wants to pick out, the pilot will also start to do the round or level off, to hold off before the landing. And there, if you overdo it, you go up, and that is called a balloon. Aircraft develops a sink rate slightly higher than anticipated. Nose wheel touches the ground, which result in a pivoting moment between the nose and the nose wheel. Whoa, let's get back to that. So in sequence now, here we come, we overdo this, we balloon, push forward, but over too much, and the nose wheel touches the ground and dink. There we go up, we overcorrect. So every time we want to hit the ground, we pull back, and every time we're in the air, we push forward. But in both cases, we overdo it, and there's never a time where we actually select a stable position, so that, let's say, the sequence of things can be stabilized. It's like a sine curve, it just carries on. All right, pilot overreacts, pilot correct too much nose forward attitude, yes. Nose wheel strikes the ground after the mail wheel touches the surface, propelling the aircraft back into the air. Okay, that's a nice bouncer. And then the pilot forces the nose down again and repeats the cycle until the nose assembly breaks. Okay. Okay, so let's have a look at the porpoise sequence here. I've got the first. Remember now that after the balloon, the pilot checked forward too much and the nose wheel strikes the ground first. That's it. Now, after that, when we get to the next picture, is remember now, there's going to be this hop maneuver that will take place, and the rear wheels will now strike the ground. In the meantime, what has the pilot done? As the nose was pushed to forward and he sees, oh, here comes the ground, he would pull back. But the nose is already hitting the ground, jumping back, and the rear was elevated too much. Now, oh goodness, and we've got to push forward again, and this is then how the sequence look. Well, it pushes now the nose. You can now see the nose forward, the rear wheels jumping back into the sky, and now pilot overreacts again, and he comes down too low. He hits the nose wheel on the ground again, and then the last one, the poor nose wheel has to break off, and you will find it behind the aircraft. This is a simple sequence, but remember, there's many things that could have happened. In the meantime, we have left the runway. In the meantime, this happened. In the meantime, that happened. But this is just a very, very basic and an always present sequence of handling or mishandling, if you wish, that leads eventually to this result. Right, so because let's have a look at some video evidence and just see what the porpoise is all about.
Плавненько подбери. Еще подбери. Задержи штурвал. Задержи штурвал. Задержи штурвал. Держи штурвал 65.
Fuck it.
Nice. Oh, wow. Pull back, pull back, pull back. Oh, no, no.
Well, welcome back. So let's have a look at a few possible causes to the accident. Well, first of all, I would say they're closing the throttle before the round out or the hold off. It's so extremely important. We are teaching the youngsters, they're flying towards the ground. You closing the throttle, which gives a pitch down moment already. Think about this. So the aircraft is pitching down, which means that he's got to start compensating for the nose pitch down. Now he's also got to round out because he's got to get the aircraft from there to there. That is an additional round out. And normally, the combination of the two, just too much, and it will be overdone. This I promise you. The second one is the pilot is looking inside the cockpit, probably at the speed, and what the hell is he looking for inside the cockpit? There is nothing. From the moment that the throttle is closed, there's nothing to see inside. Outside, it's you and Mother Earth. And it's for you not to fly into her. But if you start doing overreactions all the time, well, you know, it's not just on the landing that this happens. There are many, many instances flying where I can show you, you know, just stabilize. And from there we can carry on. As the runway gets closer, no depth perception. Well, obviously because the pilot is looking inside. And if he doesn't look outside to negotiate, you cannot negotiate for something you're not seeing. There's no directional perception. There's too little hold off. And the nose wheel touches the ground first. Or, if in a fright, then balloon, and then the nose wheel. In both cases, the aircraft gets airborne again. The pilot overreacts with the yoke movement towards and repeat the sequence till destruction. Wow. Now, if this is so well defined why it's happening, why is it still happening? Well, I can tell you, first of all, we are not teaching the correct principles. Secondly, you've got to repeat these principles and keep on reminding somebody until that becomes second nature. There are many things that are happening, and never think that somebody that's learning to fly, well, yeah, but this pilot is still a little bit stupid. Stupid in this sense just means that you haven't taught them properly. So don't use those words. They have not settled in yet. Okay? What you would perceive as the wrong things to do is something that you must show out and say, hey, do you see that? Don't do that, blah, blah, blah. Where do you look? But you can't look inside because there's nothing to see. All right. So then what lessons to take away? Level off with the runway surface. You must see the runway. And I'm going to, let's just go through the sequence here. There we're on final approach, 4 fingers below the horizon. Now we close the throttle and we start to level off. If the nose attitude is too low, we get a fright and the attitude is too high. And what should we do? we would select the straight and level attitude. Whoa, this is already on the lesson, so let's go through this. Level off with the runway surface. You must see the runway. You must see the runway. You must see the runway. To be able to see the runway, you must be looking at the runway. I'm not discriminating, but guys and girls, remember one thing. Blind people cannot perform a landing because everything goes about seeing. But if you're seeing something that is irrelevant, it cannot urge you or compel you or anything, or trigger you to do the right thing at the time. And the aircraft's attitude must increase commensurate with the decrease in the speed. What am I saying there? Well, if you look at the simple lift formula, and that's the one that you tattooed on yourself, as the speed decreases, the angle of attack will have to increase at the same rate so that you can maintain the same height. Hey, but that's the approach to the stall. Yes, it's the approach to the stall, exactly. But at the approach to the stall, when you were out there, you were looking at the VSI to see that you're not climbing. But Mother Earth was not an issue. Now you can't use a VSI. Now you must use visual cues outside. It matters not a little bit at what speed you're going to touch down, by the way. Later on, in advanced stuff, we'll get to that. But not now. You're going to break the aircraft. Do not touch with the nose wheel first. Judge outside or a porpoise will develop. That is why we have an horizon outside. Look at the horizon and look at the attitude of your aircraft in relation to the horizon. By the way, that is called attitude. If it's too high, it's a wrong attitude. And it's got to be fixed. Let me just clean this up a little bit and see if we can carry on. All right. Then I said, once the horizon is checked, then flare for the landing. Whoa. I don't want to go too fast or anything. If we first level off and we can see outside we're leveling off, and now we close the throttle and keep on looking outside, we'll see the tendency in which is commensurate. But we are now level. We can see the runway, we can see the height. And all we have to do is small movements to keep and avoid the landing. From the moment you close the throttle, there's nothing else inside. It is only you, the aircraft, the runway, and the runway will not give way. Only you can. But for you to give way, you obviously must be able to see what you must give way for. So sight is paramount. Never force a nose wheel onto the ground due to excessive speed. Directional control becomes an instant nightmare. We call it a wheelbarrow. Yeah, you go, oh, I'm a little bit hot and high and I'm going too fast and I'm just going to force it down and then I'm on the nose wheel and there we go. And because a wheelbarrow's got the nose, we call it a wheelbarrow. Okay? Normally lose directional control, and that means you're not going to stay on the runway. If you don't stay on the runway, there are multiple obstacles at most airports. Fly the approach and maintain recommended speed with a proper flap setting. Hey, now we're getting to the flap setting. My goodness. Why is it that everybody is teaching touch and goes with takeoff flap on their final approach phase? No. You must do your landings with landing flap. Then select during the time on the ground, either stop or select. It's not always that dangerous. But then to take it from landing flap and you reduce it to takeoff flap. But do not do your exercises all the time with takeoff flap and then expect somebody to be able to handle the aircraft with landing flap. And by the way, between you and I, the aircraft is much more stable with full flap And stop telling me, oh, there's a little bit of wind. Get your mind off that. Get your mind outside. What must you do? Where are you? Full flap. If that is the landing flap, there you go. Amount of flap. You, Mother Earth, avoid the landing until she will land herself, and you've done it. Level and fly level above the runway. Only then close the throttle. Avoid the landing with small attitude changes. All right. Yes. I would say that's probably it for now. You know what is the most strange thing? Is that we talk about this, we train this, and it is a problem that never goes away. It's time that we wake up, and our instructors must wake up until the next accident.